All right, good morning. Since we last spoke at the owners' meetings, I thought I'd give you guys a little update on just the process. Got back that Thursday from the owners' meetings and jumped right into meetings. And we've been in there grinding up in the room, in the draft room. Analytics, coaches, scouts. There's been a lot of good collaboration, a lot of good discussions the last 2.5 weeks as we build the board. These last few days, we've had some extra medical meetings, security meetings, some analytics meetings follow up. And then yesterday, AG and I like to do this. Yesterday we were in the draft room. We'd call up the coordinators and the position coaches one at a time and review our roster and then hit a few players at that position in the upcoming draft just to make sure we're all on the same page. We'll talk about the vision of the player. Does this player fit? If we are able to acquire this player in the draft, what's his role going to be like? What's it going to look like? What's the vision this year and into the future? As I look at the board yesterday, and it's never really final, we're always kind of tweaking it, but feel good. I won't disclose all the details of the positions, but we feel like, where some of the positions might drop off, where there might be some strengths in certain rounds of certain positions. An overall count, you'd say it's around 225 total above the line players with what I would consider 135 to 140 live cards. Some of these guys might just not be fits here schematically. They might not fit, the Jets or, disqualify themselves for medical reasons, whatever it may be. But feel really good about the board and where we're at today. So with that, I'll open it to any questions.
How different is it, Darren, with the number 2 pick, where I think everyone assumes we know what's happening at number 1, where you're not doing the projections ahead of you? You kind of have your pick. Yeah,
it's a little different. It's nice, right? Because we think we know what's going to happen at once. Then we have these pool of players. And we're like, okay, let's dive into it. We're going to get one of these guys. So it's been good. But it hasn't really changed the process in terms of just diving into each guy and then stacking them and doing it. But that's kind of a nice.
Overall, just how do you view this draft as far as talent-wise, not necessarily position-wise, but just as a whole?
I think it's a good draft. I think there's some good players that can help contribute to the team. So there's always good players in the draft.
With the defensive system changing systems a little bit, does it change at all what you're looking for at certain positions on defense?
A little bit, but that's every year across the NFL if there's staff changes or you're changing systems. And that's why it's so important when I touch on those meetings we had yesterday. Okay, hey, this player, one more time, if we get this player here, how is he fitting the offense? How is he fitting the defense? What's the vision? What's the role he's going to play? But yeah, it's important we have those conversations and we know it's clear.
When you traded Jermaine, you said one of the reasons you did that because you like the edge rushers in this class.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're not going to talk about them, but what do you think about maybe the top tier edge rushers?
Yeah, when I said that about Jermaine, not only the draft, but also felt like the free agency class had some depth as well as the draft, and feel good about this draft class as well with the edge group. I think there's different flavors, different styles. Guys do it different ways, but it is a pretty good group. I would say that in this draft.
Darren, how much goes into, like on draft day, the planning for potential trades? Like if this team calls and we're at 5 now, like do you go through those scenarios at this point where, okay, maybe these players will be here? Like what's that like?
A lot, and exactly, and that's where we're at kind of in the process. We started that this past week, and you're kind of always doing it throughout, like taking one-day breaks and looking at it early. But these last few days, that's really when you're getting in to your strategic planning, scenario planning, and talking through it. These next few days, too, the calls pick up around the league and guys start. But it's a lot of teams feeling each other out. I feel like every team you talk to, we're open to moving up or moving back, and they're just feeling teams out and information gathering from other teams. But this is the time. But we plan and have days where we have strategic and strategy meetings, but these next few days really kind of hone in on that.
Darren, with everybody says the 2027 draft is like loaded. You guys are obviously very well set up in the 2027 draft. How much do you feel a need to protect those picks versus you could use those to move up in 2026 if there was a player you wanted.
Yeah, in terms of the 2020 draft and projecting there, I mean, it's our job to know the football landscape as a whole looking forward, right? So we think we know today, okay, next year these free agents may become, this is what the free agency class may look like. Oh, next year we think this is what the draft class may look like. But as we all know, those things change fast. I mean, injuries, performance goes up and down. So what's most important is we know this draft and we know our team now, and we're focused on adding good players this draft.
In the scouting process, Darren, how do you weigh immediate contributions versus what a player might be down the line, and how does that change as the draft goes along?
So that's a discussion we have really about every single player, whether it's a first-round player or a seventh-round player. We're in the business of projecting these guys, right? What their value could be. Like we're talking ceilings and floors all the time with all these prospects and how they fit here and what they could be, what they could not be based on their deficiencies or abilities.
You guys, you did a lot of private workouts, specifically with some quarterbacks. I'm curious, like, when you go into like a private workout with that position specifically, what are you trying to find out about a guy?
Oh, a lot. It's a fun process. You know, we've done it a few different ways, and everyone does it a little different. But you like to send the player kind of a test the night before, right? Hey, download all this information. Okay, we're going to be there tomorrow morning. We're going to get in a room. Let's see how much you can retain. Let's see how natural it is for you to talk football. Let's see if we connect in the room personality-wise. And we'll go through that meeting in the room, talking a lot of football, a little personal stuff, but a lot of their habits, just kind of really getting a feel for their football mind. And then you go out into the field. Obviously, you see them physically, but in that same time, you're kind of testing them mentally again. So it's a great process. I really enjoy it. Had a good time this spring doing it with the guys as well.
And then specifically with Frank too, like what's it been like working with him and getting his, like, using his mind and evaluating these guys?
It's been great. Both Frank and Coach Musgrave were on like the tour with us and got to go see some of these quarterbacks, and it was awesome. Obviously, Frank and Billy have been around a long time. Have evaluated a lot of quarterbacks, so there's been a lot of good discussion. I really enjoyed it.
You said obviously you're getting a lot of calls, you're making calls this time of year. How do you balance that quality and a guy you maybe have your heart set on versus the quantity and maybe trading back because you obviously have done so much homework and there's a lot of guys up there you like?
Yeah, and that's the balance. And there are there's, like I said earlier, we think there's good players throughout this draft, and we're hoping we can land some of them. But this time of year, it's a lot of just feeling everyone out. But you really don't know until you get on the clock, because no one knows how it's going to fall. No one knows how they're going to feel at that moment. So, but a lot of the planning is done ahead of time.
Does it feel like a game of poker sometimes?
What's that?
Does it feel like a game of poker
Oh,
sometimes?
totally. I mean, you don't know what to believe this time of year. That's the truth.
Darren, it was reported that you guys canceled a 30 visit with David Bailey. I'm not sure if you're willing to confirm that and to say why you did that.
I'll say this, with top 30s, every team uses them differently and has different ways of using that mechanism. Some don't even use the top 30s at all, right? I would say for us, when we do top 30s, every single player and case is different. Sometimes I want this player to meet with our player engagement department. Sometimes I want this player to meet with our sports performance. Sometimes it's purely medical. Sometimes it's a recruiting process. Sometimes it's a smoke screen. And in regards to David, we had good touch points with him at the Combine. We went to his pro day, had a good dinner with him, and we were just kind of juggling our 30 and how to use them, and I wouldn't look too much into a cancellation because there was other ones that we may have changed as well.
I don't know your history in Denver in terms of having 3 picks, the top 33, 4 picks in the top 44. Have you ever been in that situation?
No.
And what is it like for you? Because it's almost like you're in a position of strength, as I would imagine.
Yeah, no, we're excited about the picks we have in this draft, and excited about the pool of players that potentially will be there. So how we use them is kind of TBD on how the board falls and all those things.
Assuming you guys do the thing where you like mock what, in-house mock what you think the other teams are going to do, when you mock the first 15 picks, how confident do you feel like, I know what this team in front of us is going to do and this team is going to do, or compared to what you usually feel, if that makes sense? Like, are you usually more confident in the in-house mock than you are now? Because
I think
people say that this draft is like all over the place.
Yeah, I think in terms of placing players with certain teams, that's hard to do with confidence. But I think you might you might have a level of confidence that these pool of players, call it 5, call it 8, whatever, everyone's probably different, are likely gone, right? I don't know, I can't place them on teams, but we're probably pretty confident this pool of players are not going to be available at this pick or that pick, how it goes. But yeah, we like to think we know, but until it happens, we really don't.
Take a couple more.
How do you view this wide receiver class?
I think it's a good class. I think there's some guys that could help, again, different shapes, sizes, different skill sets. But I think there's some good players in the wide receiver class.
How helpful has Frank Reich been from the standpoint, aside from knowing quarterbacks, the fact that he was in college football last year and played against a lot of these players and coached some of them?
He's been great. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up because we have had conversations about several of these players in the draft that he faced or either was around personally, and that's been unique and that's been cool.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
See you Thursday.